Hello, I'm John Fisher, Research Chair in Marine Fisheries Ecosystem Dynamics here at the Marine Institute. I'm joined today by my colleague Monica Sokolowski, who's a master's student in our School of Fisheries. Together, we will present our perspectives on how academic industry partnerships advance fisheries research and training here at the Marine Institute. Monica and I are both members of the Center for Fisheries Ecosystems Research, or CFER, a research center that was founded in 2010 with the goal of increasing fisheries research and training capacities in this province. Achieving this goal has at least three components. First is research project development and student recruitment. Most projects have a strong graduate student training goals and address key fisheries questions. Second is investing in access to inshore and offshore at-sea research opportunities, for which our center continues to explore many potential options. Some local, national, and international vessels that we've worked aboard are shown here. The third component includes implementing research with government agencies, other academics, non-governmental organizations, and fishing industry members. So why collaborate? Well, first of all, collaboration cuts across all three of our center's research components: project development, at-sea research, and implementing research plans. Collaboration in fishery science simply means working together to achieve a common goal. In our case, that would be a research goal. Some large and smaller groups with which we've collaborated and continue to collaborate are shown here. I've chosen to illustrate research and training benefits of collaboration in fisheries science by focusing on examples of what is coming up on a decade of collaboration with the Fish, Food, and Allied Workers Union, or FFAW. Although my lab in the wider CFER organization has ongoing and developing collaborations with many other industry groups. The FFAW represents approximately 15,000 members. Most are in the fishing industries and are found in communities across Newfoundland and Labrador. The FFAW is a large group with dedicated interests in fisheries science and fisheries management. Having so many members in so many locations has aided our research and training goals, and also provided us with opportunities to present our research directly to industry members. In these examples, working with fish harvesters and their large organization brings diverse opinions and feedback on project development, provides province-wide infrastructure and economical options for at-sea research, which is very important, and includes fish harvesters' expertise and experience on the water to get research done safely beyond the wharf. It's also quite fun. Collaboration with fish harvesters whose days at sea greatly exceed those of any scientist provides an important context and input to our research projects. And those are some of the reasons for our collaborations. Here I illustrate some photos of different at-sea research opportunities that we've had with many different members of the FFAW. My collaborations with the FFAW began in 2012, when a couple of us from CFER were invited to present an overview of our relatively new research group to the FFAW at their annual convention, including some thoughts on research collaborations. From that initial presentation, there were questions and follow-up discussions on research interests around fish tagging, specifically on Atlantic halibut within the Gulf of St. Lawrence, a stock that has grown very quickly in value and importance within this province in the last decade, but for which there had been very little information on movements, spawning locations, or stock structure. Those discussions on tagging experiments achieved by industry, our center's interest in expanding application of electronic tagging, led to the development of grants supported first by the provincial government way back in 2013. Here I show a halibut tagged with two conventional tags in green and a pop-up satellite tag that records depth temperature information over a whole year before being released from the fish and floating to the surface to transmit data via satellites. And since the initial deployments in 2013, we've tagged fish aboard dozens of industry vessels like this one, many boats in the 35 to 40-foot range. And through these interactions with members of the FFAW, we've realized many benefits for research and training. One of these has been experimenting with new technologies. After the first year of tagging, we learned of antennas, shown here, to track these tags in the water that had popped off of halibut. This allowed us to recover better data and to reuse and expand our tagging operations. These photos show the antenna, the receiver, and an app on a cell phone that can be used to track these tags, and some of the successes that we've had. And here's a picture of our very first recovery at sea, 20 miles offshore Port au Choix. As mentioned earlier, the spatial extent of fish harvesters in this province meant that at-sea expertise is available and accessible across coastal communities, wherever these tags have popped off. Here's photos of still more tags recovered, with now more than 100 deployed and recovered on halibut, providing data to support many trainees and provide new spatial information on halibut movements, spawning locations that have been input to stock assessments since 2015. Two things are highlighted on this slide. The first is the stars shown in yellow. These are the locations of 10 different communities from which we've led tagging and recovering and tag recovery operations. Second, our successes in Western Newfoundland, shown in that oval with the FFAW, have since been copied and expanded with colleagues from Quebec, PEI, and Nova Scotia in collaborations that have allowed Gulf-wide tagging and tag recovery operations. And here's a photo of some of the researchers from Quebec and also from Newfoundland who have teamed up to greatly expand knowledge of Atlantic halibut and to apply new knowledge to management questions. These collaborations have provided unique opportunities to share our findings directly with fish harvesters, as we did, for example, in 2019 with an FFAW roadshow that reached more than 200 halibut fishermen in 12 different communities across Western Newfoundland. The interest and further questions generated within these presentations have led to other new research avenues within our research groups. And the value of at-sea experiences for graduate students through these and other collaborations can't be overstated. Even students without projects related to these halibut operations and others with the FFAW have volunteered and benefited from these at-sea operations. As for the future of these collaborations, colleagues within our center and their students have also availed of FFAW expertise to advance both fisheries research and more fundamental questions related to ocean science. Here I show a Marine Institute vessel, acoustic vessel, and underwater video equipment that our center has, paired up with the goal of testing the influence of light on fisheries acoustic signals, including whether light attracted or repelled organisms. Once again, this time in Bond Bay and then in Smith Sound, our partners at the FFAW stepped up and aided us by allowing us aboard their vessels as platforms to deploy camera systems during these experiments. This setup was perfect, allowing us to collect data to advance ocean science with these at-sea professionals. So when I look at this drone video that was captured in Bond Bay in 2018 during those acoustic camera experiments, I not only appreciate the beautiful conditions of the Western Newfoundland in the fall, but also the many years of collaborations and meetings with FFAW members, representatives, and researchers that led to this day. For those collaborations, I'm quite thankful. Much of what my lab has achieved within CFER can be traced back to these at-sea collaborations and those with other groups within the fishing industry. And with that, and this beautiful video, I'll thank you for your attention to my examples and now pass it over to Monica for her descriptions of collaborations. Thank you very much.
My name is Monica Sokolowski. I'm currently in the second year of my master's here at the Marine Institute, studying under the supervision of Dr. Jonathan Fisher. My current project is focused on the 3PS Atlantic cod population and uses the themes of temporal changes in diet, pelagic and benthic coupling, and species interactions to look at why this population hasn't recovered. I'm here to give you a bit of a student perspective on working with industry. I truly think, as a student, fieldwork is one of our best opportunities, not only for the experience, but for learning new skills. These photos are from 2019 when I was aboard a vessel in the Arctic for 4 weeks. This was an opportunity that I will never forget. I got to learn and watch others perform so many practical skills I didn't normally have access to. Never would I have ever thought there'd be a day where I'm hooked up and leaning over the edge of a vessel in Baffin Bay as the sun sets and giant icebergs float by. I got to work with equipment like this underwater based camera setup shown here that collects hours of video. As a student, we usually just see the result and we don't normally pay attention to the details or the time, effort, and even risk that go into obtaining it. Of course, things don't always go as planned, and this trip is no exception. At one of the stations, we spent what felt like at least an hour searching for the buoys that were marking the camera's location after the weather started to pick up. It took both crew and scientists working together, but we eventually spotted and safely was able to reel it in. This was a challenge that required everyone working together and is just one example where new approaches, perspectives, and skills were needed to overcome an obstacle. We also worked with these zooplankton nets. We had a team of about 5 to 6 people on deck at a time, a mixture of industry and scientists. After the first few deployments of the nets, we formed a system where each person had their own job to do to make the process go smoother. So not only did we get to work as a team with both industry and scientists again, but we got to rotate through the jobs and learn new technical skills with each aspect using these nets, including setup and takedown. You can see me in the center photo there rinsing off one of the nets. A third and final aspect of collaborating with industry that I really enjoy as a student is the possible outreach that can be done with it. Being able to connect with the community and show them not only what we are doing, but why we are doing it is beneficial for all. Students get to improve communication skills while also having the potential to spark interest and enthusiasm in their field. This could lead to more support for their field and eventually more progress in the field. We sometimes forget that although we are students, we also bring different experiences and perspectives that others can learn from. Aside from the benefits for science, the best takeaways from collaborating with industry is the people you meet, the connections you make, and the future opportunities it can give you. I can only speak from experience, as I would not be where I am in this moment if I hadn't said yes to going on that vessel. I had never met anyone on the vessel until arriving the first day, and as it would happen, this is where I met my supervisor, John. Our teams worked together and helped each other throughout the whole excursion. It led to me obtaining my master's position and my life completely changing in less than a year. I'm very grateful for it. I gained so many practical skills and connections just from this one trip and can only look forward to the many more in the future. I have no doubt collaborations and working together with industry will lead to not only more people in science, but better appreciation for both scientists and industry members. Thank you for listening to my perspective on collaborating with industry.